Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV, and got a special guest on today, and that's Nuradin. He's a contributor on the fan cams on the United stand. So how you doing, mate?
I'm also a contributor on the podcast, The United Central.
Right.
Done by Saeed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, listen, welcome on Man City Fan TV, and obviously you're here to talk about tomorrow's big game, the big derby. So,
big derby.
I tell you what you want to do. If I ask you a question, then you can ask me a question. We'll just go like that, if you like, and make it really casual. So my first question to you is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's at the wheel. How's he done this season, and how far can he take Man United?
The wheel and they're in the garage. They're not. The wheels are not going. There's no wheels. There's no car to be seen at the moment. That's mainly due to our lack of investment and the lack of backing he had from the owners. As you can see, Glazer's out, sporting a Newton Heath, the railway club. Not many people even in Manchester know the history of Man United. But Ole is a guy who is he's doing his best for what he's given. To me, any manager is all about. They asked your manager, one of the most successful managers in the world, even though he's a checkbook manager, one of the most successful. I would say Pep. They asked him the question. They said, "What's down to your success?" And he said, "80% of it is recruitment." And that's out there for everybody, to find that quote from him. 80% of it is recruitment. And it's very interesting, actually. Before you got Guardiola, you had the two sporting directors, the sporting director and the director of football in there before he arrived, so that you could buy the players that he wanted. So that's how crucial it is. And that's where the biggest difference between the two clubs are and the teams are. And it's laid bare for everybody to see.
So what you're saying is that the infrastructure at Man City far outweighs the infrastructure at Man United?
It's not a secret, mate. It's not a secret. And that's why, down to your success, I'm absolutely gutted. On your watch, the Scousers might win the league. When we were on top, we kept them at bay for 20-odd years.
Yeah.
We kept them
we got that last season from United fans, and we did keep them at bay. But there's a long way to go yet.
I'm one of those. I'll be on here, Man City TV to come, because I went to university in Liverpool. And the amount of stick that I'm getting this season is unreal, even though they won the Champions League last season. But I just didn't want them. I wanted it to be 30 years or over 30 years before winning the league. And I remember I finished work and I was watching a bit of the game on my phone. And when Company struck that goal against Leicester, I cheered, mate. I cheered. And I would say that I cheered because knowing that Liverpool were going to have to go another year before they win the league suited me fine. So Ole is in a lot of the fans are split. There are a lot of them, especially on social media, who are calling for his head. But it's a difficult time because he's got a very young team and a very inconsistent team, because we don't have the quality, really, to mix it up with the big boys at the top of the league.
Okay, so your question to me.
What happened? How can you let Company go and you didn't sign a centre-half? What the hell? A club that's run so well, what happened? You know that you're only one injury away from then collapsing the back, and I'm quite surprised, actually, that the structure that you've got, we've spoken well about, and it's been spotless. Majority, since Pep was here, before Pep was here, I'm just like, how come they're sleeping on Liverpool, knowing that Liverpool finished 1 point behind them? Fergie always said, a lot of great managers always said, you strengthen when when you're winning. That's when you strengthen. Yeah. When you're winning, when you're at the top.
Yeah. I think it's a question that all City fans ask at the same time. It's always, in hindsight, it's always when you look back, when you get an injury. Certainly the injury. If the injury would have come to maybe John Stones or somebody like that, but the fact it was Laporte, it was world class. The fact that he got injured, he was the key player. Was it prudent to go into this season without replacing Company? I would say we should have done. And in all honesty, I think we possibly did look in the market at the time, because Harry Maguire, we were sniffing around Maguire, so was United. We were quoted, I think, £70 million in the first initial enquiry, and City just went, no chance. We're not paying 70 million quid. he ended up going to you for whatever it was, 80 million, 85 million. I think the business model has changed at City, if I'm being honest, because of the FFP and everything else and the way it looked from the outside in. I think City have just got to be really careful, making sure that we balance the books. We're made for the owners. For the owners, it's about image as much as anything else as well. So I think they had to be really careful that they weren't throwing a shed load of money. My only problem with it was, and if in hindsight, yes, we should have replaced company. We should have bought somebody, but we had Laporte, we had Stones, we had Otamendi, we had Eric Garcia, who had been with the squad since last season. So we had 4 centre-backs there. Walker can play there in a 3 because he has played for England there. We did have at the time Danilo, who has played centre-back, right-back, left-back, centre-mid, right-mid, and was a real problem, 7 out of 10 most games. So I think we had enough. But with hindsight, we didn't expect Laporte to get a long-term injury. My only gripe is the fact that we went and spent £60 million on Cancelo and got rid of Danilo for 22 million quid to Juve. And it was like, hold on a minute, this doesn't make any sense to me business-wise. Why do we need another right-back? I can only assume that Pep wanted Danilo to stay. He turned around and said, I'm never going to get in ahead of Walker. I want to go. And not a lot you can do if that's the case, hence why we got Cancelo. So in hindsight, I wasn't too concerned about replacing Kompany as a player. He played the 9 of the last 14 games and was absolutely immense. But we have to bear in mind, he missed most of last season. So that could have been exactly the same this season. We don't know. It looked like he wanted to go at the end of the 10 years. He wanted a new challenge, etc., etc. What we are missing massively more than anything else is his leadership skills on the training pitch, in the dressing room, around the players. Even if he's not playing, he's not in the squad, that's the biggest loss rather than what he brings on the pitch, in my opinion.
I think that with a view to matching the two Manchester United teams that won the league 3 times, I think you could have kept him for a season. Exactly on that last point, what you just said.
Yeah.
Not the fact that he's on the pitch all of the time, but it's his leadership skills. And there's an influx. You've got some aging players and you've got a couple of youngsters. You know what I mean? I think Cancelo is one of the highly rated right backs. He could be even a winger. Some of the football he plays. So I understood that made sense for Pep. But I am still shocked that you because injuries can happen, and know that injuries can happen to any player.
Yeah.
And a club that's planned everything so advanced and far ahead, I am shocked that you let Kompany go and he didn't get anybody. I don't expect you to go and get, because Pep's, how many players has he signed since he's been at City? He's bought in defender after defender. They didn't work. See you later. You know what I mean? You could afford to do that. I just think you should have just bought somebody who is just a bit better than Walker as a centre-half, Otamendi as a centre-half, and Stones as a centre-half. And you had the pick of all European centre-halves. I believe that, because you're winning. Everybody wants to win a trophy. Some of the players want to come play for Pep Guardiola. And I think you could have found one in Germany, one in Italy, in Spain. You could have found one, and it wouldn't be that expensive, but just somebody that can just be steady,
Yeah, we did a video. I did a video with a guy from Germany who contributes on Man City Fan TV, Tobias, and he did a lowdown of all the top German talents last summer, and sort of right backs, centre backs, midfield, strikers, blah blah blah. And he was talking back then of Upamecano, and said Upamecano is a player that he'd be perfect for Kompany. He's a leader. Talked about Kai Havertz at the time. In the summer, saying he's going to be a top class player, and it was players like that possibly we should really have been looking at. The only thing I'd like to know about it, and we'll probably never know, is I just somehow get a feeling that Kompany only announced it right at the end. It seemed to me like it was within a game or two. He just went, right, that's it. I've got an opportunity with Anderlecht. I'm going to go. And it wasn't, to me, it didn't seem like it was 6 months in the planning, so that everyone knew. I think it was like right at the end, he just thought, we're going to win the league. We're going to win the 4 trophies. We're going to win the treble. We're going to do this is perfect time. And it seemed like he did it right at the very end of his contract, which sort of went, whoa. Maybe Pep, maybe Cheeky and Ferran wanted him to stay another year. I don't know, but I agree with you. I think another year would have been a great transition phase, considering we've got Fernandinho coming towards the end of his career. David Silva's leaving at the end of the year. Sergio's got 18 months left. Whether he stays after this next summer, I don't know. So I just think it's his leadership skills that we're missing massively at the moment, because we haven't got that type of leader. Not that there are many of those type of players out there in world football, but we just haven't got that next person at the moment who grabs. And maybe Laporte will be that in the future. I don't know.
Oh, he's a fantastic player. He hurts me, but he's a fantastic player.
Yeah. So
he's got all of the conditions to be a leader. He's got all of it. The coming up with a last minute headers, the goals, the headed goals, the left foot, the switch to play diagonally, to somebody's toe, 60 yards. He's got it all.
I mean, you can see when Otamendi plays with him, or Stones plays with him, or Garcia, or he's one of those. He just coaches them through the game constantly. He's talking to them, and Fernandinho can do that. And Fernandinho is probably our best centre back we've got at this moment in time. I mean, he's
one of your best players ever, I think. Yeah.
Phenomenal player. Okay, so my next question would be, what would constitute a good season for United this year?
Most of us, at the beginning of the season, in the summer, we talked about how crucial the transfer market in the summer was to us. We've had decent signings. Wan-Bissaka was obvious. Maguire, like you said, City, you were after him. Even though in an episode, apparently, of Amazon, Pep Guardiola was slating him, saying how slow he is and all of this and all that. There's some rumours going around.
How actually, on Maguire, how do you think he's performed so far? I mean, I don't watch United all the time, but the bits I've seen of him.
Wow, you're the only City fan that doesn't watch us that often.
There is a Rick in him. I mean, his passing out the other night was like the one what put McTominay under pressure for the goal. It was like,
yeah, I think he started brilliantly. I think he handled the pressure. The first bit of games, I think they all came in. They freshened the team. All of them. Dan James has been a revelation in our team, because he's a guy that we all said, he might be the guy for the last 25 minutes in certain games at Old Trafford.
Yeah. And
he's been turning out to be one of the guys one of the best players of our season so far. But we talked about our midfield. We talked about the lack of reinforcement in midfield, and we all said, we're going to be a mid-table team this season, most likely. And this is most of us who know what's been happening to us since Fergie left, have understood where this was going. So we said, we're going to be a kind of medium. We said, if we finish 5th or 6th, that'll be a good season for us.
Really?
Because of the clear out. We cleared out almost about 8 players, and we bought in 3. Now, we got rid of Fellaini, we got rid of Herrera, and we never replaced them. So we can see, if anybody could see, if you watch Man United, I mean, that the thing above Stretford and goes, I thought, hated but never ignored. So I'm quite shocked as a City fan that you've not watched us this season, because like most City fans around the world, they do watch Man United, and just so that they can get a bit of that good feeling when we lose the game.
You sound like a dipper. You're delusional.
But so we said mid-table, and we said if 5th or 6th, it would be a decent season. That's what we said, because of the amount of players we've cleared out. And we've got 18-year-old as a striker coming on. I mean, he played against Tottenham the other day. Martial is finding it a bit difficult to play up front, in terms of he's just picking up injuries after injury. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the lineup is. But on that question, 5th or 6th, I think is reasonable. 7th or 8th, I actually do not want to be in the Europa League. I would want the next manager, if it's Ollie or the next manager, just to have a week-to-week training with the players and getting his philosophy and the way of play across without any disruptions from the Europa League. And that's just not me, that's most fans. Because we're sick. Now, we don't belong in that Mickey Mouse Cup. We don't belong in it, to be honest with you. We don't. It's not for Man United. That's not Europa League, Manchester United. It doesn't go together. It don't.
Well, if you're not in the Europa League, and let's say you do finish, let's say outside, currently you're 6th on 21 points. If you finish, let's say, I don't know, let's say 8th or something like that, and You get to the end of the season and go, I've had enough of Ollie. Who would you want right now to replace? Not right now, but in the next sort of 6-8 months, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't the right man for the job, taking you forward, what managers out there would you take at United?
Well, the obvious one that everybody is honing on, that everybody's talking about, is Pochettino. And he's got quite a bit of history with City, hasn't he? He's quite lucky against your boys, isn't he?
Yes.
Him and the VAR.
Him and his VAR mates, yeah.
Yeah, Stokely Park. Is that what they called at that place?
Yeah.
Well, somebody there doesn't like City, do they? Let's be honest. I mean, even as a United fan, I could say that. You know, somebody up there. But they love Liverpool, don't they? But that's another story anyway.
Absolutely love it.
Obviously, he's the obvious one. That everybody, you know, I mean, there's some of our fan base who are almost dying out for a new toy. You know, Tottenham have got a new toy. Arsenal have got a guy who's never managed at any level before. You know what I mean? You got Everton, you know, Silva getting sacked at Everton. So it's his sacking season, isn't it? Everybody's saying he got 6 games to go. But I think what Ollie's done is, Ollie's a Man United fan. I mean, I'm one of those people that I stick up for Ollie because I blame the structure. Our structure is atrocious. And regardless who comes in, if our structure doesn't get fixed with a new manager coming in, then the same thing happens. And then in a year, in 18 months, 16 months' time, there'll be some United fans saying then Allegri or Poch or whoever is out.
Well, I mean, you only have to look. You only have to look at the fact. Look, you had one of the most successful managers in world football in Mourinho out there.
Yeah,
it didn't work out for him. It's not worked out for Van Gaal. It's not worked out for Moyes. It's not worked. Is it clearly nothing to do or little to do with the actual managers in situ? Is it to do with the hierarchy, the structure, and the infrastructure, and the decision making that's going on behind the scenes?
Oh, a lot of it's to do with that. A lot of it's to do with that. I think I was one of the guys who, after going to the games, I'm just being bored out of my brains. I mean, a lot of people were playing, a lot of people were playing Snake. That's how bad it got in some of the, we were going there, obviously. Our stadiums usually, regardless who the manager is, unlike, should we say, the empty out.
What was that?
But what I would say was that Van Gaal is the guy that you think now, looking back, maybe should have got more opportunity, because one thing he did, he cleared out a lot of the older players, and he embedded and improved young players. I mean, that's the best I've seen Chris Smalling ever play in a Man United shirt under Van Gaal. Luke Shaw was a phenomenon before he broke his leg. Martial and Rashford, they both, broke into the team, and they were both doing fantastic. There were things that he did. I mean, also his capacity. I mean, we came, obviously, Rashford ended, what was that guy called? Di Michaelis? Nowhere to be found, is he? He's not even come back.
Scored one of City's best ever goals.
But anyway, under him, against the big teams, he was fantastic. Tactically, he was right. It was, looking back on it now, I mean, obviously, you've got the hot head. You see red mist because you're bored out of the football. But the way they sacked him, and then they got Jose Mourinho, I never wanted that guy. That guy is a Wikipedia. I mean, Mark of the United stand, he always says that I stole that from him, to be fair. He's a Wikipedia page. And that guy came and lived in a hotel, mate. That all you need to know at Mourinho's reign at Man United, he lived in a hotel. I mean, I kept pointing it out on the fan cams. And the next 3 days later, the Daily Mail's like, oh, United fans are not happy. United fans are not happy he's living in a hotel. It's for everybody to see. What that guy did, he goes to these certain clubs. He just wants to collect his 20 million payoff, mate. And at the end, that's what he did. You know what I mean? At the end, that's what he did. It was only going to go one way, because the way he stunk the place out with his negative, and the way he embarrassed our club. I mean, we got beat Seville, and then he was like, I've sat here and knocked Man United out. We don't care. I've won 3 European Cups. We don't care what you do. You're the manager of Man United. So with him, it was always going to end that way anyway, right? Yeah. So forget about him. I think Woodward should not be allowed to sack. Saying that, though, Jose they didn't back him, even though I would disagree that the players that he wanted the Boatangs, Bayern Munich, William, and he wanted to sell Pogba and Martial and these kind of guys. Even though I don't agree with it as a fan, once he's a manager, to me, once you don't back the manager of the players that he wants, there's no going back from there. You know what I mean? Especially someone like who's looking for that 20 million payout.
Yeah. Okay. So Pochettino is obviously on a sabbatical at the moment. He could hang around until the summer to wait and see what happens with Ollie. But I would suggest maybe it's something like that, or maybe you stick with Ollie if the problems aren't in the managerial role. It's the backroom staff that needs sorting out. But anyway, a question to me.
The thing that I would say, what is it with your fans and the Champions League?
The Champions League or the European Carabao Cup?
Well, the Champions League, basically. What is it? Most City fans.
The European Carabao Cup.
Is that what it's called? Most of your fans are not enthusiastic. I mean, to me, this is the nightmare. Let me just give you the scenario. The nightmare is Leeds come up, City win the Champions League, Liverpool win the league. I want to go somewhere. I want to go to another planet, basically, and live under a cave for the rest of the days.
I can't wait for Leeds.
Honestly, mate. Oh my God.
I don't know, mate. It does nothing for me. It does absolutely nothing for me at all. One, I disagree with the whole group stage thing with the Champions League. I just think it's bollocks. Why call it the Champions League? Because it's not the Champions. I mean, we saw Liverpool Spurs in the final last season. Neither of them had won a Premier League title or a title in 85 years in total. I mean, it's like, how can they be the champions of Europe if they're not even the champions of their own domestic league? So I don't like the whole format of it. I don't like the group stages, which is full of shit games, boring teams, traveling to stupid places, to the Ukraine and all of these places. I don't like the competition. I never have done, and I'm hand on heart. I never have liked it since it moved into that group stage and all that. If now it was the European Cup like it used to be, I'd be all for it. I'd be let's just have it. The champions of each domestic league play against each other, and then it means something. It actually means something. Now, if we were to win it this season, of course it'd mean something, because it's more, for me, it'd be like bragging rights to stop you've never won it before. That'd be the only thing I'd be interested in. The actual competition, I don't like. I just do not like it. And obviously, with everything that's happened with UEFA and City, that's just added a whole other building blocks on top of everything else. And I think City fans just have this apathy for it, that they just think it's run. We're being accused of being corrupt. It's being run by, we know already, corrupt officials. That we know that because they've been proven to be corrupt. We've had all the issues with VAR. We've had everything else. And then just, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I've been to loads of Champions League group stage matches and everything else. And rarely have I walked away going, oh, that was a great game of football. The Napoli one was brilliant. Been to Lyon, and that was a great game, and things like that away. But the Spurs game last season was the best game I've seen of football, and excitement and tension and everything else, probably for years and years and years, and since the Aguero moment. It was a fantastic game.
Yeah, VAR does not like Sterling, does he? Somebody VAR does not like.
But I walked out of that game going, I wasn't that bothered. I was gutted inside, but I wasn't that bothered, because I went, what an absolutely amazing game of football. Excitement, everything else, walking out. I was proud to be there, even though the VAR went against us. But that's very far and few between. It's like the rest of it's garbage. It's just garbage.
Would it be fair to say, because obviously City, no fault of your own, there's not a great history, there's not great European nights at Man City that fans in our age can remember.
Maybe,
and that's got a lot to do with it as well, that there isn't this.
Yeah, quite possibly.
There isn't these goals. There isn't.
Maybe if we won it this year and then win it again in a couple of years' time, and then another couple of years' time, maybe those great nights, people will maybe start going, oh yeah, but remember when we won it in Madrid? We'll remember when we won it in London? We'll remember when we won it in. Maybe that would sort of. And I do think it's a generational thing, because a lot of people my age, or just a little bit younger, tend to look at the City fans, I can't speak for everyone else, but tend to look at it as, it's just a crap competition. I don't like it. The younger generation who've been brought up on the Champions League is this. They're the City. If I hear loads of podcasts with City, other channels and things like that do podcasts and like we do, and you hear the younger generation arguing for City doing everything to win the Champions League, but the people who are on it from an older generation are going, I'm not bothered. Give me the Premier League every day of the week because it's my bread and butter. It is every day. It's over 38 games. You can win 7 games and get to the Champions League final. What's that all about? And you could be playing people that you've never even heard of. This is the whole thing with the Liverpool doing this World Club Championship thing. Who the hell are these teams they're playing? Nobody's ever heard of them.
Flamengo are quite big.
Flamengo's a big team, but you've got the Al Hain and whatever. I mean, who are they? Yeah. The part-timers, they wouldn't even do well in League One, never mind anywhere else. I mean, it's the UEFA thing, the FIFA thing, everything else I find unpalatable. And until, for me, they go back to the old European-style cup, where the European Cup style, where it was the winners of the domestic leagues play together. Yeah. That's when you can go true champions of Europe, like United have been in the past and Liverpool were in the 80s and not Forest. And then you could say they were the best team in Europe because you go through group stages with points and VAR and this, that and the other. I mean, it just becomes, I don't know. A lot of older fans for me just are apathetic towards the competition.
There's a cheeky second part of that question. Do you think Pep Guardiola is more focused this season on the Champions League than he is on the league?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I know, without speaking to Pep Guardiola, I don't know what he's thinking. I still think he would like back to back because that is real. I mean, you guys are the only ones who've done it. I mean, it's so difficult to win 3 on the bounce. I mean, it's virtually impossible. So I think he would have loved to have gone back to back, and we still might, who knows? But I think he would really. That shows you real. I mean, we've won the last 2. To win 3, that shows you total domination of your domestic league. I don't think 2 does, but I think 3 does. I think 3 makes you the absolute dominant team in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no arguing against that. 2 means like Chelsea have done it, Arsenal have done it, you've done it. But to do 3 back-to-backs, that is like well, if you say you didn't win it the year before but came close, win it 3 times and then came close to the 5th time, over 5 years, you are the most dominant team in the Premier League. So I still think the owners want the Champions League.
Oh, of course.
For its prestige, which obviously puts that pressure onto Pep. And I'm sure after last season, Pep would probably be going, there's only the Champions League for me to win. We've done everything else.
So this is my other cheeky little question after this. Do you think Pep Guardiola has then, if he wins the Champions League with City this season, do you think that's it? Because obviously knowing that he left his boyhood, this boyhood club after 4 years because he couldn't take it. And we know that we know the history of Fergie. We're talking about the genius of Fergie doing it 3 times twice. And, he built 4 teams in a spite of 27 years or 28 years at Man United. So just knowing that, is he got the fight to build another great team, then to go on and dominate the league and the Champions League for the next seasons? Plus, also, the thing that's against Pep Guardiola is that he's not won the Champions League without Messi.
No, he hasn't. Totally. Yeah. Trying to answer your first part of your cheeky question. Would he leave if he won it at the end of this season? I would like to think not. I mean, he's stated clearly that he will see out his contract. He's stated that.
And how long's that till?
He's got 18 months left, so he's got this season and 1 more. And he said that I will see out my contract. He's just recently, after all the speculation and media garbage that they always come up with, he's come out and said, I'm really happy here. And I'd be happy if the owners want me to extend my contract, I will do. Whether that's just media garb just to settle everything down, we don't know that. Only cheeky Ferran, Khaldoon and Pep will know whether that's true or not. One thing I will say about the whole Barca thing and the way that he left there, he has come out on record and said the pressure at Barca was significantly greater than it is at Manchester City. He said, even though it's phenomenally, a phenomenal amount of pressure now, it's nothing compared to when you're managing the likes of Barcelona. He said, and that's why, if you read his books and everything, it was so intense because it was his club.
Yeah, and he's emotionally involved in it.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't just a managerial pressure; it was emotional pressure as well, because he'd come from a ball boy to the youth team, to the B team, to managing the B, to playing, to managing, to go to the first team, to win all these trophies. To then, he said it was just too much.
I've actually witnessed him score against United.
Yeah.
2-2. Barcelona, Man United, Lee Sharp. I don't know if you ever remember, it's iconic. He ran to the corner flag and did the Elvis. So I remember him.
So no, don't watch United.
Oh yeah, you're the only guy, only City fan. Oh yeah, things have changed now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's my thoughts on. I mean that's my thoughts on Pep. I don't know. I would hope, hand on heart, I would hope, regardless of what happens, I hope he just finishes his contract in 18 months, and if he goes, he goes. We've witnessed, for me, the best football I've seen in my lifetime in the Premier League, or whatever you want to call it. Just domestic football that I've witnessed. Those 2 seasons were just immense. 198 points is just incredible. Yeah. So I'd be happy in 18 months' time. If we didn't win the Champions League, he leaves, because the football we're seeing is just a joy to behold, even though we've not seen it this season as much as we did last, but I think there's reasons behind that. So my question to you is, you've got that yellow and green scarf on. Just quickly, because we've got a couple of questions left before we wrap up. What are your thoughts on Ed Woodward himself and the club in general, and hence that scarf?
I think if I was allowed to express myself, I'm guessing young people are going to watch this, so I don't want to,
you can swear as long as it's not. You can swear as long as it's not too much.
Well, I would just say he's a banker. Obviously, he's one of the guys who helped the Glazers take over. The Glazers absolutely their football knowledge is this. It is absolutely still. The thing that what damaged us, and most people might not realize, was that not only did Fergie leave, but David Gill left exactly the same time. So you've had 2 guys who've run that club like together, all of the football inside of that club together for a very long time, and had a tight-knit relationship.
Yeah.
And then a banker who knows absolutely nothing about football has come over and appointed himself the CEO and had the power. So he might as well be Woodward Glazer, because that's how much they love him, because he's basically bought them the biggest cash cow they've ever had in their lives.
But that's his job, isn't it? I mean, that's what he's good at.
That's what he's good at. But then, to be fair, when you look at the numbers and you see the likes of City, the likes of Liverpool and Chelsea, because we were so successful and we were so far ahead. And you know our global reach. Our global reach.
Yeah.
It's out there. There's nobody can match us in that kind of sense, because he was built on this success after success after success of Fergie. Actually, if he was that good on that side of the business, we would be so far ahead of everybody else. And the sad thing about it is he actually that good? Because if you were that good, you would realize winning trophies and bringing success would even make you more money, right? Then you could even dream of things that we could ever imagine, figures that we could ever, if you had the right manager in, if you had bought in the right sporting director, you have the proper structure in. If you won more, you could clean that club out and still have the debt. And most fans, we're all fickle, we're football fans. We wouldn't be talking about it as much. Even though I say I'm one of those. I'm in 2005. We were there when they came into the stadium. They left. Most people don't. Actually, you can go on YouTube. Those of you watching, there might be some United fans or City fans. If you really, they didn't take over just like that. I mean, most of the cars of all of the people that had stakes in United and sold it to the Glazers, their cars were done in. It's famous Manchester Education League. That's what they were called. the militant wing of Man United, who were absolutely doing damage. And actually, they left Old Trafford under a police escort. So, the protest has been there. That's why the green and gold is there. And like I said, most of it's not a Norwich fan. I know some City fans are watching and saying, "What has he got on that Norwich scarf?" No. Know your history of football, actually. Where just past where your stadium is in in East Manchester. Past there was the history of Man United, right? This was the history of Man United. Newton East Railway Club. That's who the original Man United are, and that's why the green and gold scarf means so much more, because we will not want Americans who, I mean, it could be anybody from any part of the world, but especially Yanks who have the zero knowledge about football, and a banker that helped them to take over, who's just want to run their play. You know, I mean, at the moment, for a fall, even as a City fan, for the fall Man United had, David Moyes took over. I mean, he should never have been appointed. That's the thing about Fergie. Fergie was an absolute legend, but he's at times he made decisions. Fergie did not get everything right, and nobody can say that. But most things he got right, and he's a legend. He will forever go down as a legend. But appointing David Moyes, it was a head spin. It was
always going to, whoever walked into that first job after he left was always going to be pretty difficult.
But of all people, him.
Yeah. He's doing all right forever.
Yeah, something like that to me. Ancelotti, you know what I mean? There was, you know, a European guy who had a pedigree. But I would say that they've run out the club into the ground. They threw a lot of money at it. After years, Fergie used to come out and go, there's no value in the market. So they panicked after they got rid of Moyes and Van Gaal. They spent a bit of money. Mourinho, they dashed some money into it. Yeah. But because nobody knows what the hell they're doing, we don't have a structure. We don't have a proper recruitment team, even though Edward was coming out now. We call him Dead Woodward FC. That's the nickname for him. He's coming out on this massive PR, so giving someone like, the fan scene an interview. You know, Andy Mitten is a great journalist, Manchester-based, Mancunian journalist, fantastic writer, writes for World Soccer. He gave him an interview, and he basically saying, oh, the recruitment team is this, is that, whatever it is, when it's not really, right? So we are, whether we like it or not, Man United fans, the only time I can see us getting anywhere back to where we were is where he's not in charge of making the football decision that football. And what would make it perfect if we can get rid of the Glazers as well. But I can't see that any time coming, because, you know,
they're making too much money.
They're making too much money, and the debt's still there.
Yeah. I mean, you only have to look at the figures that were released a couple of weeks ago and showing you City, where potentially we could overtake you in revenue next year. You know, you look at that and think, God, after 11 years, wow. You know, wow. I mean, it's frightening. It must be frightening as a United fan looking at that. Hey, well, how can you know, the empty-ad little City suddenly now potentially be posting bigger revenues than Manchester United, who have dominated world football for 30 years. Well, longer. You go back to the 60s and 70s and things like that. Well, but anyway,
can I come back on that point? Well, you are owned by a country, and they can.
Oh, no, we're owned by an.
Listen, you're owned by a country.
We're owned by
that his family run the country. But
it's money. Do you realise where he got his money from to buy Man City?
I'm not gonna.
Where did he get his money from to buy Man City?
Oh my God! Listen,
he bailed out Barclays Bank so that the taxpayers wouldn't have to. He made 1.4 billion within 9 months on that deal and put the money into Manchester City. Never took a penny out of City.
The point I would say to you is that you can launder money, make it look like fix the books and make it look like the empty ad is making a lot more money franchise wise.
It starts to sound like Miguel Delaney.
No.
Anyway,
don't associate me with Miguel Delaney.
Question to me. Well, you got a question for me?
No. Actually, you know what? This is your podcast. So
okay, right. So your lineup for tomorrow, United's lineup.
I mean, to be fair, it's no big secret. You can tell our squad is absolutely injury hit. Pogba is a massive influential guy in our midfield. He's been out. He's not playing. He's not playing. I mean, I'd be shocked if he's playing because
Ollie was a bit. He just
no.
I don't think he is.
No. I doubt it. I'll be shocked if he's playing. But then you never know. Like I said, you know, Ollie might be thinking, you know what, just trump card. But and if he's in the squad, he might be starting he might be on the bench. But then I always think managers, if he's fit enough to be on the bench, why can't you start him and take him off?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit weird. That's the thing that I don't understand about football managers. Not that I was ever a football manager. Yeah. Martial is a touch and go, but he said most likely he'll be on the bench. So it's going to be, I can imagine it to be the same team that played against Tottenham.
I don't watch United, so who was that?
So basically, at the back it was David De Gea, of course. You can have the little laugh. It's David De Gea. I mean, the only guy that I would change, I think I would play Brandon Williams. So to test his temperament. Can he keep his temperament? Can he put, he's a Manchester lad. Can he do it? You know what I mean? Brandon Newell's, so you had Ashley Young, left back. You had Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, and Maguire, who were being regular. Fred McTominay obviously came back for this first game. And then you had Lingard in front of them. And then up the top three was in the centre, it was Greenwood, Rashford on the left, and James on the right.
Well, just quickly, I mean, I was going through your some stats. Rashford so far this season in total, 12 goals, 4 assists. Martial, 5 goals, 3 assists. Greenwood, 4 goals and 1 assist. What's this kid really like? Is he all that?
Yeah, he
looks excited.
You let
telling me I don't watch it.
Yeah. So you keep saying that, can't you? So, yeah, actually, you are protesting a bit too much there. You know what I mean? I'm thinking you do watch United. You might even be a secret crush United fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, I'm a plastic.
but I would say that you let one of the best young talents in English football slip through your fingers in Sancho. So Sancho's numbers in the youth teams in the UK was incredible. This kid broke all of Sancho's records. Yeah. So that's what it just tells you.
Yeah. I mean, there was Sancho, there was nothing, but Pep wanted him to stay. He didn't want to stay. He just refused to sign an extended. There was not a lot we could do about it. Pep said, I wanted him to stay. He didn't want to stay. He wanted to go. So there was nothing we could do about it. It was one of those things. And you look at his disciplinary record in Dortmund at the moment. I think it's 3 fines for turning up late for team meetings, 2 fines for turning up late for training. I mean, this is a 90-year-old kid. Needs to show a bit of fucking respect, if I'm being honest. Is he going to be one of these big troublemakers? Great talent, though. But just more about Greenwood. Is he that good?
He is. I mean, he's one of the best talents I've seen in the last 20-something years. I mean,
really?
I would say that because, the bits that you need to have, like you naturally, innately need to have.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah.
The other bits that is the thing that you have to work on, the strength, you know what I mean, holding up the ball, making the right decision at the right time. But that innate footballing ability, he's got that. Yeah. That's the gift, you would say, the gift. And if we had a great manager, I would love, like I said, another Fergie, but you know what, Fergie, because he would have thrived. You know what I mean? If I could grab him now and drop him in that Rooney, Ronaldo, 2008, double winners, you know what I mean? That type of team, what he would do, because at the moment we're almost kind of relying on him to come and save us in some games, and he's playing a lot in the Europa League games. And
I mean, the only thing that worries me though is turning up at this massive hotbed atmosphere tomorrow at the Etihad. I mean, you know what the atmosphere is like. I mean, it's gonna be. His legs are going to be shaking when he hears the roar from the south stand. And
oh my God, you mean the Etihad? And nowadays,
you do protest too much with the Etihad.
Half of Dubai's flying over, innit? Half of Dubai's there tomorrow. You know what I mean? They don't just cook the books. They don't just cook the books, but they cook the figures in the stadium, don't they? You know what I mean?
Anyway, give me your score prediction for tomorrow.
Rashford loves the derby goal, doesn't he? He's got a history. He's got a prior. You know what? I'm thinking that to me, there's no pressure on Man United in this derby game. Yeah. There was a lot of pressure on Oli on Wednesday because of obviously the Mourinho coming back, and then being Tottenham, and Fergie used to say it's only Tottenham lads. You know what I mean? That was the phrase. Yeah. That's a famous quote from Fergie. But this game in this derby, our record actually at the Etihad is not that bad throughout the years. It's not that bad. Your record at Old Trafford is quite significant. We've not won a game in a long, quiet while, in 4 or 5 seasons at Old Trafford. I think we beat you in the League Cup with Mourinho was there, but that was that was your B team, I think it was. I'm a fair fan in that kind of sense, and I'll point that out. But there's no pressure on us. I like the way we played. I was fuming after coming out the stadium on Sunday. I didn't go to the Wednesday. I was working on Wednesday. I worked nights, unfortunately. I worked shifts, so. But I went on Sunday. And I was fuming because I thought they threw Oli under the bus by their lackluster performance. I wasn't there on Wednesday, and apparently most United fans, they said that was the best they've seen.
Yeah.
So there is, no pressure on us. We've got actually a team full of Mancunians who know what it means.
Are we actually going to get to a score prediction here?
Well, I'm just, putting out of the word. And I think that you would say that this game, 2 or 3-1 City, you would say that. If you were looking at it, thinking, you know what, City have still got powerful. But I think we might be able to nick a draw. Somehow, we might be able to nick a draw.
I've gone for a high-scoring City win. I've gone for a 4-2. Okay. I think there'll be bags of goals. I mean, our defence has not been all right. We were a lot better against Burnley, and that was a good performance going away to Burnley and battering them 4-1. Yeah. I mean, it could have been a lot more.
And we can't keep the lead either.
I think we can score. You're struggling. I mean, you look at your statistics. I mean, you're only on a +5 goal difference. 23-4, 18 against. So you're going to concede
massively.
I think we'll concede as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that we might, being at home. I don't know. I've just gone for an exciting 4-2 City win on there. But right,
is that the same score that you went for when you were about to win the league and you had the t-shirts and the champagne and the fireworks ready?
You're going
to win the league. No, when you were about to win the league.
Liverpool.
Did you go when you were 2-0 up and we came back to 3-2? You remember that? Oh, you must have.
Hey, listen, I was right behind the goal for Pogba's goals. Do not tell me about that. I actually
still on that roof.
I actually walked down the stairs of the South Stand chatting to some City fans, and I just went, at least it's still there, that old City. It's just typical fucking City. You come here to celebrate against your rivals, and we go and get beat 3-2.
You know what? I've got cousins. I've got into half of my family. My cousins and that City fans, diehards.
Yeah.
The text messages I was getting, the WhatsApp, and I was,
2-0 at our time.
You know what? I wasn't responding to it. I just sat there watching the game, and I'm like, and it was the best feeling. It's the best I've ever been on WhatsApp and on Facebook Messenger. The best performance from me. I mean,
it was a bit. It'd be remiss of me not to just sort of say for City fans who were watching this video, it was a bit like us 6-1 at Old Trafford.
Yeah. Even though the 3 goals came in the injury time, but and we still attacked. We were still attacking.
Finally, before I just ask you one last question, I'm gonna. I don't know who. I'm gonna stick. Obviously, Ederson. I'm gonna stick with Walker. Fernandinho, Pep said is going to be centre back. I don't know whether with Rashford's pace he'll pick Otamendi tomorrow. If I'm being honest,
please.
He might pick Stones.
Please, Otamendi. I beg Otamendi to play.
Now, is rumoured to be that Zinchenko has been in training for the last few days. He said, no, he's training, he's fit. I'm thinking, will he really pull him back into this? I don't know. I'm going to go Mendy because of his bit of pace and everything else. So I'm going to go Walker, Stones, Fernandinho, and Mendy. Rodri to hold. Kevin De Bruyne are ahead of him with David Silva. Bernardo Silva keeps his place on the right. Gabby Jesus up front and Raheem Sterling on the left. But that's my team. But finally,
I'm not so confident of that draw now since you started reeling off those names. I'm like, ooh, De Bruyne. I'm like Sterling.
If you could take one City player right now, and I know we've only got a couple of minutes left. If you could take one City player right now for your team, who would you take?
For Man United, one player, De Bruyne. All day, every day.
Yeah. It's just
and then the second followed by Sterling. Sterling's been incredible.
He's been for 2 years. Super. Right. Quick.
What's going on? What score? So you said 4-2.
I said 4-2. Yeah, I said 4-2. Right. 2 words you're allowed. Arsenal Football Club. You're allowed 2 words.
I've got to give it a bit more than that. I would say the gift that keeps giving.
Well, okay, that'll do for me. Spurs.
Older team. Mourinho. I think he might, if he's allowed to sign players, he might be able to get them because of the pitch, they've got firepower.
Chelsea.
Frank Lampard's done fantastic. Where we said or not, and actually today came out in it that the transfer ban is no longer. So, those young players now might have to raise it. And you know what? They can always buy. But then there's something wrong with their owner. Isn't he living in Israel at the moment? Because he's fell out with the British government, hasn't he?
Yeah, they've revoked his passport. His passport to live here. Leicester.
the irony would be if Brendan Rodgers was to win the league. Oh my word! I would. You know what I said? I would streak around Manchester and streak around where the police stations are, and be totally, everything showing, and just run around Manchester if they were about to do it. If Leicester were to do it,
he's just signed a contract today till 2025 with Leicester. So there you go. That's to ward off Arsenal, I'm guessing. So. Last one. I know I said it was the last one.
Right.
Give me a top 4 for the Premier League.
Well, obviously, as it stands, it's the top 3 are there with you guys. I think Liverpool, unfortunately, Leicester. I think.
So you think Liverpool number 1 will win it? Hey,
it's not over till it sings, mate. It's not over. I'm still the hope that the collapse of Christmas or the collapse in February. You know what I mean? I'm dreaming about this collapse. And you can dream. So, but it looks like even though they lost one game, and we're the only team to take points of them this season, to be fair to us. So I'm hoping for a collapse, but it could be there, yeah, mate.
All right, so Liverpool 1, second.
City.
Okay, third.
Leicester.
Fourth.
Well, it depends if Leicester get injuries. Chelsea. And Chelsea or Spurs. And this is the thing. If Mourinho's allowed to sign, I think Chelsea or Spurs is that 4th place. I think Arsenal are done out here. We are done in terms of getting in there.
Champions League winners.
I think there's a bit of Pep. I think he keeps getting asked that. He obviously he's a very intelligent man. He understands what's going on in fan culture. That keeps getting thrown at him in the sense that you've not won a Champions League without. You know what I mean? And he's not won it in another country either. He didn't do it at Bayern Munich. As this City team, can he do it? I think you have a chance. And I think you cannot be... VAR can't do that to you, what he did to you last season. I can't.
You sure?
Honestly, I can't imagine that happening again. Because then we'll have to do an investigation, 100%. But I think City, I think you're one of the... Because I think Paris... I think on a day City can beat Paris Saint-Germain. I think you can beat Real Madrid. I think on your day you can beat Barcelona. Saying that obviously your long-term injury comes back. The German lad, if he comes back.
Sané and Laporte should be back by the end of January before the next stage of the Champions League sort of starts anyway. So hopefully we've got those back. Pep saying no signings in January. I don't believe that. I think we might get a couple of loan signings if anything. I don't think we'll splash the cash in January. I think it'll be saved for the summer.
My last closing words, I would say that is, I will never forgive you guys for letting Liverpool win the league, and I will never forgive Pep Guardiola for letting that happen. Because one thing I would just say about Mourinho, Wenger, and Fergie, mainly Fergie, we kept them at bay. Hey,
listen, it's not for the want of trying. It's not for the want of City fans wanting it not to happen. Well, every other fan base in the country doesn't want it to happen.
The unbearables, mate. The unbearables.
Yeah.
Honestly. Oh, yeah.
Well, listen, I want to say an absolutely massive thank you to Nuradin for coming on this Man City Fan TV preview for tomorrow's derby. If people want to follow you, are you on Twitter or social?
Yeah, that guy, Red Devil. We're all, if you need any football education, especially historical context, I'm always there to shout it out, to give people a bit of context.
What is it again?
That guy, Red Devil.
That guy, Red Devil. Well, listen,
all your City trolls, definitely. Especially if Rashford gets the winner.
Are you there tomorrow?
Unfortunately, I'm waiting still. But I won't be able to sit with the United fans. I might be able to sit with my good friend Henman, who's a big City fan.
There you go.
I'm waiting to hear till tomorrow afternoon.
Hey, well, listen, if you're around the Blue Moon Cafe, we'll be outside there. Come and have a quick chat, mate. It'd be great to meet you in person. This is Andy from Man City Fan TV. I want to say again, another massive thank you to Nuradin for taking the time to come on here. This preview for the United game tomorrow. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and comment below the video. Anyway, all the best, buddy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, mate.
Take care.